Thank you. Thank you. Sure, thank you.
And we finished with a draw, so that was rained out, that was rain effective. No losses as test captain. Said no losses as test captain for the game. Great. Cameras all good to go? Awesome. We'll get straight into it. So here with the first question.
Temba, congratulations on the series win. Do you feel that this is a special group of players that that are together at the moment, and what is it like to captain a side that just seems to find a way even when it's having the ball handed in however many overs?
Yeah, I think there is. I think there is something about the team. There is something special that's brewing amongst the team. A lot of guys have said that. I've heard KG say that. I've heard Keshav say that. Can't really pinpoint what it is, but I think it's quite evident from the outside. You know, people speak about a certain brotherhood that kind of emanates from the team. Guys on the field, we back and we fight each other, and I guess there's a there's a strong sense of belief that someone on the day is going to do it with is going to do it for the team, whether it being with the bat, whether it being with the ball. I guess for me, captaining, it's stressful at times when we go through those tricky phases, but also enjoyable and satisfiable when we're able to come out on top. So yeah, it's been enjoyable. I think a lot of guys can say that as the team, and I think any team that is winning, there's obviously a lot of fun.
Thank you, Telford.
Temba, congratulations. Do you realise you haven't... South Africa won all the tests in which you've captained them. And they haven't lost a test yet. And I realise it's a team game and obviously you're a key player, but will you finally take some of the credit as a leader for that happening?
No, I would never do that. Probably amongst the players I would, but not to the media. But I think, yeah, I just learnt about it now. I've always felt as captain, you're only as good as your bowlers, firstly, but then you're obviously as good as the rest of the team as well. And I think the bowlers individually have been superb. Guys have stood up, and then the other guys as well, being the batters, they've also done their jobs when the time is needed. For me, nothing special about me as captain. I'm just enjoying where I am. I'm enjoying being part of this group of guys, and enjoying the responsibility of kind of executing the vision that the coach has kind of laid on the team.
Temba, you won all 4 tests this summer. What have you seen or learnt in terms of the progress of the team over these 4 games and maybe even of certain individual players?
I think, yeah, I mean, as much as we've gotten the success, I don't think we're a well-oiled machine, if I could put it that way. I think, I mean, you've seen in certain phases of the game how we kind of let the game go too much in the opposition's favor, and then it normally takes some form of brilliance for us to kind of bring it back. And look, I mean, when you play against, you know, top sides who are on their game, you can't exactly allow that. But I think, like, when you speak about the special factor within the team, it's our ability to bring it back. So one thing for me that stands out, like I said, is our ability to find a way. But I think we're still on a journey as a team. I don't think we are close to us playing at 100%. And I guess it'll be scary when we are kind of firing at in all cylinders. But I think, like I said, winning, that's what we play for. We've got 15 guys there that want to win. We've got 15 guys that want to be the man for the occasion, for the team, for the country. And I think those 2 factors is what has carried out throughout the season.
Temba, just looking at the 24-25 season, it must be comforting or satisfying to finish off from criticism from the New Zealand series, and then taking criticism from the public, and obviously the legends have obviously spoken about you guys being in the final. It must be comforting or satisfying to win and still be in the final as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it caps off a a super successful summer of cricket for us. I think it was always going to be a challenge for the players after being on such a high from Centurion, qualifying in the final, but then to come here to Newlands, still be expected to play at the same standard on a very good test wicket. I think it's playing here at Newlands, it's the type of wicket growing up you used to see guys like Graham Smith and Gary Kirsten kind of bet on, where the games go on to day 5, it starts spinning. So it was something new for a lot of us as the players, especially the younger guys, that the ball's not going to go sideways like it does at Centurion all the time. You're going to have to actually put in the work, and like I always say, it's always satisfying when you're able to come on top in all those challenges. So yeah, very, very successful. Like you said, looking at where it started, a little bit dark for the test team, but I think now there's a lot of light shining everywhere.
Temba, congratulations on your century at Newlands, where you got your first one 9 years ago. It's been a lot going on in the intervening 9 years. You know, lots of highs, lots of criticism. The last 4 years, you've been averaging it, I think, around 50 each season. What's been the lowest point for you over the last 9 years as a South African cricketer, and how has that affected you personally?
The lowest point, probably the World Cup, the 2023 World Cup, 50 over World Cup. I guess the positive from it is that, I mean, that's what you dream of as a young player, that you want to play in a 50 over World Cup for your country. So I guess having that opportunity and obviously leading as well, that was one thing. And then I guess the way we exited, I guess I'm a type of guy, I put a lot on myself, responsibility and pressure on myself. And I think obviously for my own personal performances, it didn't speak to what I wanted. So I mean, that was quite difficult for me personally to deal with, but also deal with where the team was. I think the team had played so well that I don't know if it's a thing, but I felt that we deserved a lot more as a team. And I guess, I mean, someone has to take the fall, right? And it's normally the captain. So I think that wasn't something that to me came as a bit of a surprise. Looking at my experience of being in other World Cups before then, whether the criticism was warranted or not, you know, I think that's not something that I really try to throw a lot of emotion on. But I think one thing that I can say is that, you know, I'm very, very grateful for the experiences that I've gone through. I've always said that you get to realize really who you are as a person. But it also kind of prepares you, you know, for things that are coming later on. So, and I think there's also in my mind understanding that there will always be highs, but sometimes with those highs there are certain lows that make you appreciate both sides of the spectrum. But yeah, that's probably the lowest moment that I've faced.
I don't want to be too much of a downer, so I mean, the highest point in the last 9 years.
The highest point, I think probably now recently, qualifying for the final. Yeah, I think that's probably, next to me making my debut for South Africa, probably will be one of the biggest things. Hopefully I'm fit around that time. There's no issues. But that's probably the biggest achievement for myself personally. And probably for the group as well. You know, I mean, we have an opportunity, I always say this, we have an opportunity to do something special for the country. And I think one thing I know is that with that group of players, everyone will try to run through a brick wall to make sure that we get on the right side of that result.
We're going to go Lloyd, Keenan, Stu.
Thanks, Lucy. How's it, Temba? Just on that final, you know, what kind of a statement is it from South African cricket and you guys, you know, considering that it's a nation starved of test cricket in terms of numbers of matches, in terms of big series, you know, you're seeing 5 test series elsewhere in the world. There's clearly a hunger, given the crowds you've seen here. There's clearly an ability, given that you're in the final. For you and this group of players, is there the hope that this kind of knocks down doors so that down the line you get those big 4 or 5 match series against the world's best?
Definitely. I think we hope the way that we've played, the performances, make it attractive for other teams to want to come and play here in South Africa, but obviously play longer number of matches in terms of the series. I think Test cricket is alive and kicking. The guys are super keen about Test cricket. The fact that there's a trophy to play for, I think that obviously creates a big incentive about it. And the fact that the stadiums as well, we're able to fill it up. I'm looking at Centurion, you look at now at Newlands, I think that speaks positively to where Test cricket is within the country. So, we'd love to play a lot more. So hopefully there's appetite and interest from other teams that they want to come play in South Africa.
Keenan?
Congrats on the win, Temba. At the end of the Super Sport Park match, Shukri Conrad spoke about really being challenged, and you weren't really challenged in the last few matches. With regards to being in the field for, I think, 13 hours or something over the last few days, is this the kind of challenge that really sets you up well for the World Test Championship? And yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely. It can only make us better as a unit. Like I said, it's been a while since we've put in a shift like that, especially the bowlers, and I think the guys held themselves well through those trying and testing times. There weren't guys who were sulking, and guys, whenever they got the opportunity with the ball, they tried their best. The guys in the fielders as well, we tried to support as much as we could. So I think that's an experience. Especially for a guy like Young Kwena, he will savor obviously the experience of making his debut, but putting in miles like that under his boot. The game is a little bit longer than just 4 overs in the 2020 stuff. So I'm sure with him, he'll have a little bit more respect for Test cricket. Not that he doesn't. We're just happy to get that victory. Yeah.
Stu?
Temba, just in response to what you said to Lloyd earlier, the appetite from the public is there for Test match cricket. We've seen it with these 2 games especially, and yet next summer there's no Test cricket scheduled. I wonder how, at home, I wonder how that made you feel.
Yeah, I heard we're going to be in India around that time. I don't know really what to think about it. I'm sure the fans here back home will be missing some sort of action of us playing. We'll definitely miss it. Hopefully it doesn't happen anytime soon again. I don't really have any words about it.
Cool. We're going to start taking the last couple of questions. So we're going Nathan, for those, so here, and then we'll wrap at the back.
Temba, there was one of the players said that, I'm paraphrasing, he said, it's now I'm playing with my friends. There seems to be a happy change room. Can you just talk about the change room and how happy the guys are in camp, and are you guys playing together?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of competitiveness within the guys, which I think has brought out the best out of individuals. Like I said, the guys are motivated by winning. The guys are motivated by putting in match-winning performances, and I think that does make it easier that some of us have played with each other for quite a while. It was KG who mentioned that, and I think it's always fun, when you're out there, you're toiling with guys that you have strong relationships outside of just the changing room. So things like lack of trust, lack of confidence in each other, that's not there. It's very enjoyable. I think also the freedom that's been given to the players, guys, literally, we just want guys to be themselves. Don't try to be like anyone else, just be yourself. So a guy like Bedingham come in the second innings, that was Bedingham being himself. Sometimes he gets flack for it, but sometimes he goes and plays like that, which for us gives us the confidence that he can believe in his ability, and that's just an example in itself. So I I think a lot of the credit, to be honest, goes to the coaching staff. Obviously, Shukri, he's the main man there, so he heads up it all. But all the other guys, Kruger van Veek, Piet Botha, all the guys who just allow guys to literally just focus on their skill and doing what they need to do. That's allowed guys to be where they are. I think the guys are also motivated, to be honest. We want to do something special as well, and we all believe that we have a role to make that happen.
Temba, you deflected the attention off yourself earlier, but when we looked up, you're the highest run scorer for South Africa this decade, and you've got 3 of your 400s as captain. What has made you have much more kind of belief and confidence in yourself, and why are the runs coming?
Why are the runs coming? Don't know, to be honest. Look, I think, from a batter's point of view, obviously I understand my game a lot better. I'm trying to stay within my strengths as much as I can. I'm not trying to play like anyone else. Remember my early days, I was always being told you need to trigger. I tried that. It was never natural for me. But now I've kind of parked that aside and I just try to do what's natural for me. And I think maybe from a mental point of view, probably at ease. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone else, but probably just myself. Stay true to who I am, what my ambitions are, and make sure that you kind of stay grounded. I think, like the guys always say, don't get too high, don't get too low, just be yourself. In all the different situations or phases that the game brings to you. I think I'm a lot more calmer about things as well. I don't take them as personally, and I think maybe there's a sense of me of not, in a good way, not caring as much, if that kind of makes sense. Not taking on too much responsibility, identifying guys within the team who can take care of certain things. So I think, like, in terms of the younger guys and making sure that the culture is where it needs. A guy like Aiden, he does that quite well, and the guys kind of lean to him a lot easier than they would to me. If you think about the bowling, there's Keshaf and KG, they kind of take care of that. And then the batting, there's Ashwell in this space, and Aiden as well will come in. And I think for me, you almost kind of manage kind of everything, and you don't feel as much pressure. I don't feel as much pressure as I did maybe at the beginning. But yeah, I'm a lot calmer and don't take things as seriously and as personally.
Temba, we know it's 6 months away still, but you mentioned the fact that the 2023 World Cup semi-final was one of the lowest points. And the fact that you have another crack at Australia in a final. We know the history of Australia and South African cricket. Is there any other team that you'd rather want to face? Or rather, so is that the team that you most want to beat in a World Cup final?
Look, if I could choose, I could probably not Australia, but I mean, it is what it is, right? Look, we'll prepare as well as we can for Australia. Probably more mentally, like you say, to have those conversations. Probably the guys who've been in those positions more than the younger guys. You don't want to burden them with whatever baggage that we come with, but also just stay true to what we've been doing as a team. We know our processes. We'll obviously have to adjust our processes for the conditions in England and obviously the opposition as well. But we'll stay true to that, and we'll go out and fight. Whatever happens, we will go out and fight.
Hi, Temba, congrats. So 2 quick questions. Number 1, where do you think was the turning point in this test match, and where do you think South Africa took control? And second question, how do you feel about facing Australia in the finals?
I think we'll take just the first one. The second question was answered
Thank you.
now with the previous questions.
The turning point, look, I think it did help that we won the toss and we batted first. I think the way the guys applied themselves with the bat, obviously Ryan Rickleton with that big double 100 that he got, Carl and myself, we also contributed to the team. So I think the way we went about our business in the first innings with the bat really bought us time in the game. You know, the way we bowled in the first innings, you know, we took on the follow-on. So yeah, I would say the turning point is, I guess from the onset, we had the advantage in our favor, and we didn't allow any momentum to kind of build in Pakistan's camp.
Last question from Kanyiso.
Bye. Kuyakhumbula ke emva kwendebe ehlabathi lena ke yamabhokobhoko nampumelelo yabo kwathelwa kakhulu ngosiya kwakho anzothi bayahlekisa kodwa kwafanele kwabane kubuzwa kuba udenze ntoni uThemba yena into lento ubekiwe esihlalweni kungathi kuze impumelelo so njengoba ndizakula kulomdlalo ke wanqam ke we-World Test Championship ithetha ukuthini kuwe ungumuntu nento ufuna uzenza nento ufuna uzuza ungumkhokheli ungumuntu kumsebenzi oqhakamba.
Yeah. Mhlawumbe ndibona ngayo lo mna Khanyisa iqela ayiwinwa ngumuntu omnye. Weseyiqonda kubana ikhona into yokuba kukho umkhokheli and yena ke ufumana yonke la praise kodwa ke umdlalo winwa ngumuntu omnye iwinwa yi-team. Nathi ke phofu nami ke nje ngamkhokheli yeliqela nami ndiyalifuna ke elathuba ba nathi ke siphumelele nothi kuba mna ndizobekelwa pha phezulu kodwa ke for iqela lethu for i-team yethu nayo ikhe ibonwe njengezinye ii-teams zalapha elizweni. Abadlali balapha kweli qela kudala sidlala icricket encomekayo but ke akho nto ebonakalisayo loo nto sinalo elinye ithuba ngokuba sike siyenze loo nto siyenze into ezange yenziwa apha eSouth Africa. So kulaa mbuzo wakhe asoze mna into endiyenze ngam into endiyenze ndodwa phana akubhowuli mna phana akubhitishe mna ndedwa phana siyenza siliqela. Ibalekile ke singabantu ke nathi ke sijonge ngelo hlobo andibekwanga uThixo phana ebaleni uba mna funeke ndiwine igame ngenxa yokuba ndingumntu omnyama so kufuneka kubekho izinto ezenziwayo ezange zayenziwayo phofu ndisengumntu nam kodwa ke ndixhomekeke kwabadlali bam phaa ebaleni.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Temba.